Billboards are visual rhetoric that can be described as a form of communication that uses images for creating meaning or constructing an argument. Visual rhetoric uses images of people or objects beyond their familiar image to impress, to attract attention, and to persuade viewers. Visual rhetoric can manipulate images in an unusual way to produce the effects of implicit, exorbitant, dual, etc., similar to traditional methods using speech. The images, when properly set up, make viewers have inferences about the implied information about the product. Rhetorical figures in visual rhetoric are powerful tools that are used frequently to promote product value and leave strong impression, to manifest positive thought in viewers to remember the product. Rhetorical figures in advertising are varied and are used in a much more flexible way than words in text. The identification and understanding of the function of the rhetorical figures will help those trained in the field of business. Thank you for listening and good day everyone.
Isang taon pa lang ako, nasundan na ni Toto.
This TV advertisement conveys the crowd that family planning can significantly prevent unplanned pregnancy so that parents can give enough time and opportunity to love and provide attention to their children.
Sabi mo, pasensya na, walang pera kaya mag-drop out ka.
This is an example of pathos because it gives emotions of sadness and longing for love and education. And this is also an ethos. The doctor makes it more appealing and convincing, more likely to trust them.
Ang planadong buhay ay maayos na buhay.
Nakaka-wow ang new Improved Blanca. Bakit kaya? Let's find out. New Improved Kopi ko Blanca with more content that makes our creamiest ngayon creamier.
Try nyo na!
Using Marian Rivera in this ad made this an ethos. The tagline, "Our creamiest, now creamier," made the advertisement logos because it builds up a logical argument that their best product can be more.
Good morning, everyone. I am Concursal Lady May Abriam, your reporter about newspaper or online news as rhetoric example. Newspaper are recognized as reliable sources of information that keep readers up to date on current events. They were widely used as non-electronic medium around the world. At the present, they may also be found online on their own news sites. Newspapers are important in our everyday lives because they give the foundation for the majority of our social and political information. The newspaper text, according to Bell 1991, is divided into three broad categories: service information, opinion, and news. Newspaper, according to Carr and Sohal 2019, they are persuasive in nature. To measure ethos in the chosen document, it looks at the subcategory of it, which are credibility, reference, and expectation. For credibility, Detach 2019 mentioned that ethos rhetoric is also invoked to tie a brand to fundamental rights as brand build trust with their audience. The underlined word in the preceding example are regarded authoritative. Forbes Philippine and Publicus Asia Incorporated conducted various polls which were featured in well-known news items including GMA News and the Manila Bulletin. As a result, any data produced by Forbes Philippine and Publicus Asia Incorporated may be considered reputable because they are reliable source of the data they collected. According to Bulletito 2012, logos or logic is an appeal which caters to the reader's reasoning skills. Logos is measured by its clarity, conciseness, and arrangement. By Al-Mumami 2014, Logos requires viewers to rely on their reasoning based on facts, statistics, and numbers to derive judgment. The above example was based on the result of the survey conducted by Social Weather Station. In October 2022, they clarified that there are around 12.6 million Filipino families that consider themselves poor. Nature 2017 stated that pathos will attempt to invoke an emotional response in the audience. Therefore, feelings and emotion play a big role in detecting pathos in a certain document. Pathos has three subcategories under in which are namely tone, emphasis, and engagement. According to the interviews, students express a sense of pressure as academic requirements piled up, forcing them to study or work even on weekdays, for which they demanded an academic break. Anyone's physical and mental health will suffer if they do not get enough rest.
Here are some rhetoric example as a teacher. First example, you will learn a new language which is the most special in the world, and I will teach you how to regard your arms and legs as pens to write you poetry with your own exceptional words. Can you imagine how beautiful it is? It is from the essay How Teacher Inspired Students. In this example, it uses ethos since the writer is credible to his or her words to convince the audience, which is the students. The writer is confident that he or she is enough as a source of knowledge and skills. Next is, you are smarter than you know, braver than you imagine, and more determined than you realize, from Jody or Kubart. This example is pathos, since it draws to the audience or students' emotions. The real goal of the teacher is to inspire his or her students to do well in their studies and as person as a whole.
Common rhetoric example as a teacher. Picture ethos appeal in line with pathos to convince the audience of the importance of creativity. It uses humor to retell the experiences as a teacher and what he noticed about creativity in his students. Sometimes humor enhances people's emotional connectedness with the subject. The mixture of persuading techniques will help the author to deliver the needed message to the audience. He expects the audience to spread the idea to others. Student needs freedom of expression. However, when it comes to implementing change, we also have to encourage equal pay for all. Such change matters when we put on what people can and cannot do in their lives. Ken Robbins' TED Talk proves that schools are indeed killing creativity in children. However, to succeed in winning the attentions of the audience, he uses a combination of ethos, pathos, and logos appeal. Firstly, it indicates a pathos appeal by grabbing the audience's attention by connecting to them emotionally. The also uses his personal experience to entertain his audience and help them to relate to the issue. Secondly, illustrates ethos by using his position in the educational system to persuade his audience. As a result, people are certain the teacher is credible when it comes to students. Finally, he also uses logos to prompt a reaction from listeners by presenting facts and offering solutions.
ends my report. This is Cheryl Olino reporting.
Let's proceed to courtship. What is love? Love involves emotions and behaviors characterized by passion, intimacy, and commitment. What is courtship? Courtship is a behavior designed to persuade someone to develop a romantic relationship with one. So as a Filipino, we are amazed with the different ways of courtship or panliligaw. Panliligaw through chats, which is now the trend nowadays, especially in Gen Z. Panliligaw through pick-up lines, which is according to others is very kilig and mabenta. And panliligaw through song, such as harana. And here are the rhetoric examples on courtship. Hindi na ako gagamit ng Google dahil nang makilala kita, the search is over. Akong gugma nimo mura og dagat, mutaob man o muhunas, di jud muhubas. And here are the example of a song. From the song of Leon Rhymes, and the title is I Need You. I need you like water, like breath, like rain. I need you like mercy from heaven's gate. There's a freedom in your arms that carries me through. I need you. And what is the mode of rhetoric used in courtship? As you listen to the lyrics of the song, you can feel already the emotions and the message of the writer towards the listener. You can feel the genuine intention and the pure love of the song. The rhetoric mode used in courtship is pathos, or the emotional appeal, means to persuade an audience by appealing to their emotions. Pathos can be developed by using meaningful language, emotional tone, emotion-waking examples, stories of emotional events, and implied meanings.
Another example of common rhetoric is Facebook. Facebook is an online social networking website where people can create profiles, share information such as photos and quotes about themselves, and respond to links shared by others. Importance of Facebook. Facebook is a social networking which helps people connect with family, friends, co-workers, others, and group of people, even people that they don't know online. This meme is a rhetoric example which shows ethos. It appeals to the speaker's status and authority, making the audience more likely to trust him or her. By using this, the speaker was definitely claiming his authority, that he has a good point and he is reliable to believe in. This is an example of pathos meme because it appeals to emotions. It persuades an audience by purposely evoking certain emotion to make them feel the author wants them to feel. This meme wants to persuade the audience that a person will finally be happy after going through emotional breakdown.
What is political rhetoric? Political rhetoric is essentially classical the rhetoric applied to a modern political situation. The basics of rhetoric, logos, pathos, and ethos all apply to contemporary political discussion, and specific rhetorical devices are employed to increase the effect. For example, Politicians frequently make use of anaphora, which is a form of repetition whereby consecutive sentences begin with the same word or phrase. Politicians also use other techniques in political rhetoric, such as confusion, diversion, association, omission, and composition. These techniques are all employed in speeches and public statements to win the favor of the listening audience. Politicians manipulate their image to create a more trustworthy, righteous, and intelligent version of themselves, which is presented to the public. Logic is used to create valid arguments and can also be valuable technique to point out flaws with the opposition's arguments. Appeal to emotion is used frequently in speeches, and emotionally charged words can be used to incite a certain reaction from the audience. Different rhetoric techniques are often applied to politicians, and these are designed to encourage the audience to agree with their points. Diversion is one technique often used in political rhetoric, and this can be applied in a variety of different ways. For example, a politician may shift the focus away from problems with his or her own policies to issues with an opponent's policies, attacking another politician's personally or solution to a problem diverts attentions away from the inherent flaws in the speaker's argument. Repetition is a powerful technique used in political rhetoric. Slogans are a simple example of the use of repetition in politics, which ingrains important and usually crowd-pleasing policies into the listener's mind. Aside from the use of slogans, politicians also frequently make use of techniques such as anaphora, which is the repetition of words or phrases at the beginning of consecutive sentences. Repetition can create a sense of familiarity which people generally act positively to.